Podcast. Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers Podcast, the only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment. We are your hosts, Cameron and Kobe, and we are ready to bring survival goodness direct to your dirty little ear holes.
We're going to talk about bling, bling, ching, ching.
That's right. 50s, 100s.
Something we don't know.
Gold, silver.
Never had.
Yeah, what are we talking about? What is the episode? What is
Money,
it?
finances.
Money, finances.
It's an
Financial?
important thing.
It is.
People, I think, hope for a collapse so they don't have to pay their debts.
Sometimes I am that way. Like, the world's going
What's
to
the
shit
point of
anyways.
paying my student loans? Gonna
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna.
Financial preparedness. That's the topic.
Yeah.
Cam, we're excited.
Yeah, I'm by no means an expert. Well, on anything, but
Yeah,
this
sure.
one, the basics.
Yeah, this is the basics.
So
We'll have a discussion.
Let's
though.
do it.
We're excited. Hey, Cam, did you know the most subscription boxes are full of samples and junk you'll never use? I mean, it's true.
I have a lot of it.
But not Battle Box. It's the monthly subscription box for men, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, Battle Box sends you the coolest selection of hand-picked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month: the Condor Greenland pattern hatchet with leather sheath. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. The Rescue Me vehicle escape tool. And if you've watched Southern Survival, it's the one they used.
Rescue Me.
Yeah, it was either in the first episode or the second episode, but it killed all the other ones that they tried. So this is one of them. Yeah, looks really cool.
The ones that tried the other tool were killed.
They all died. They all died. All of this badassness starts at just $30 a month. They've shipped almost 1 million boxes and won Best Men's Subscription Box of 2017. Our listeners get a free knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. That's trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Get your first battle box plus a free knife at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Listener reviews starts now.
You say casual preppers.
Casual preppers.
And that knife will come later.
Yeah.
Don't expect it to come in that first
Don't
box.
message
Chill
us.
out. It'll get there.
Don't message us and go, hey.
I'll get my knife.
I'll get my
Refund.
Refund right now. I'm unsubscribing. Yeah, no, you'll get it in a separate shipment, but it will be there, no doubt. And if it isn't, then you can let us know.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk to the boys at Battle Box.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
You want to take this?
Amazing podcast. 5 stars.
Beautiful.
I've been listening for a while now, and it took me a while to post a review, kind of like Cam and his ham license. This podcast is very informative and entertaining at the same time. I listen to it while I drive all day. The voices are amazing, and the mindless banter episodes are awesome. Keep up the good work, guys.
Nice.
Long 9499.
Yeah, via Apple Podcasts.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. If you guys,
At least you got this done. I haven't gotten the ham license done, so you're ahead of me.
if you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, leave us a 5-star review, and make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
Cam, I know you told me we need.
Don't worry, I'll do the nicer
I
stuff.
completely forgot about it.
That's all right.
We were gonna do some more funny stories for Mad
There's
World.
way more bad stories out there.
Yeah, I was like, I could just like close my eyes and like point somewhere and find a bad story. So that's kind of what I did today.
True.
So I'm sure a lot of you have heard this story. I read the first thing this morning. It is a follow-up on something I think happened yesterday. The headline reads, Chinese consulate in Houston was, quote, massive spy center. FBI probes Chinese army suspects in 25-plus cities.
Oh, man.
This is just bonkers. Top U.S. officials said in the hours following the revelation that the United States ordered the Chinese general consulate in Houston to close, that the move was carried out because the facility was a massive spy center that was stealing information from Americans and running influence operations in the U.S. The United States will not tolerate the PRC's, People's Republic of China, violations of our sovereignty and intimidation of our people, just as we have not tolerated their unfair trade practices, theft of American jobs, and other egregious behavior. So basically, they're stealing stuff, they're spying on people, and we said, screw you, you're getting out of here.
China, when have they ever done that to anybody?
I don't know. This is the
they
first
never
time.
steal information.
This is the first time. Give them a little leeway. I say this just because I feel like these tensions with China just keep getting ramped up. There's a new story all the time. And then there was a story the other day that China is like ramping up their military to invade Taiwan or some crazy stuff. This is something you need to keep an eye on.
That's disturbing.
It's super disturbing.
Did you see just this just in?
Hey.
In Tooele, Utah?
No.
They were getting... So, over the past few weeks, people in Utah have been reporting mysterious packages they've been receiving from the mail, or in the mail from China.
What?
I opened them up, and they were seeds. They're getting these suspicious seeds. So, the Department of Agriculture has been investigating what these are. So I don't know what's going on.
They have an investigator for the Department of
Let me
Agriculture.
see these seeds.
We got a seed case for you, Roger.
Trying to grow Chinese here. What's going on?
Head out to Tooele.
Tooele.
How do you spell that? How do you say Tooele?
Tooele. Yeah.
First case in 15 years. Go out and investigate.
Oh, no. Don't worry about it. Mustard seed.
Yeah, just mustard seed.
But anyways, that was weird.
Yeah, that is
So I don't
weird.
know what's going on
Why would
there.
China be sending them seeds?
Why to Tooele, of all places? There's nothing out there.
They're like closing their eyes.
Larry H. Miller Sports Park.
We'll send it to
for race-
Tooele.
Oh, we spelled it wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's some
Interesting.
lighthearted stuff.
Okay.
Here's some funny news, okay?
Sure.
A little bit, anyway.
Okay.
Some stuff. I thought this one was funny, so I wanted to read it to you.
Do it.
This one is fake death certificate. It says, sorry, let me get my browser up here. So this man, he was trying to avoid a jail sentence, so he created a phony death certificate. And it looked perfect, except he spelled one thing wrong that was
His
the
name?
obvious. Nope. Registry was spelled registry.
Oh, man.
I saw it
Spell
was funny.
check,
It's like,
bro.
it looks perfect. Look at it. It looks so good.
Wow.
One spelling mistake.
And he probably went and dropped it off to the jail. I can't come in. Look, I died.
This is my brother, twin brother.
Right here it says I'm not alive anymore.
So that's funny. Just a death certificate misspell,
Man.
and he back in trouble again.
It just shows you got to go 100% with the project.
You do.
You can't slack off. You got to go all the way.
Right.
You know.
So here's some Twitter, like some of the best Twitter users. Like they had this, like, if 2020 were a drink, or if 2020 were I thought the drinks ones were pretty funny. So here, if 2020 were a drink, it would be, and what, I'm not going to say who the users are. Moonshine brewed in a prison toilet.
Yeah, that's a good one.
2020, it would be a water bottle filled with vodka, but you were told it's water.
Yeah, that could be true. Yeah.
It would be a Harvey Wallbanger. I don't know what that one is.
Well, I'm not a drinker, so.
It would be the kind that they set on fire, but the fire never gets extinguished and burns down the whole barn. Barn.
And barn.
Yeah.
Bar
so
in the barn.
That one's true, right?
That is
there.
a good one, yeah.
King Cobra taped to each hand, constantly being filled. Purell on a beach.
Oh,
Just
nice.
drinking it up. It would most definitely be orange juice and vodka following the brushing of teeth.
Ooh, that's num-nums.
Pretty nasty
Yeah, that's
taste.
good.
So I thought
Yeah.
those were kind of funny.
That's good. I like
2020 has been a real treat for
Yeah,
everybody.
it
One comedian had said, I thought this was way funny. He said, check on your conspiracy theorist friends. They haven't had a day off in weeks.
Oh my God, it's so true. And there's been, like, I swear there's more conspiracy theorists these days. Like, they've multiplied.
Oh yeah. I thought, for, like, honestly, right now, I think the entire United States is just a conspiracy theory.
It's crazy.
Do we even exist? Or, like, everybody's a conspiracy theorist. Like, unbelievable ones too.
It's like somebody got a mogwai wet
Yeah.
or whatever, and then they just popped out a whole bunch of new ones.
And even my dad I was talking to, like, they're like farmer folk out in a little remote area.
Yeah.
His brothers, they got together because they hadn't, really done stuff
Uh-huh.
for a long time. And they were all conspiracy theories about this virus and all this. And I was like,
Yeah.
geez, it's everybody, every age. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's nutty. Yeah, so
anyway.
that's good stuff.
Yeah. So let's do it. Let's talk about some finances.
Yeah, let's talk about financial preparedness. And I think this is actually a really good thing to start looking at for the next 6 months or so, because in my estimation, that's the next thing to come down, is that economy. I mean,
For sure.
something's going to happen.
For sure.
It's not looking good. Anyways, there's not going to be an upward trend. I don't think so.
No.
Either way,
No.
we got this election coming, and I don't see how, if either of them win, stuff keeps going up,
No.
right? It's just all
There's
going to kind of be on a downward
Not
trend.
really a pro either way.
And we're spending a lot of money, and the economy kind of sucks, obviously, with coronavirus and people out of work. And yeah, it's a really good time to make sure that your finances are in order, especially if you're a prepper and you want to be ready for situations.
Yeah.
So-
We've thrown it into a few different
Yes.
episodes because it's a huge part.
Yeah.
No matter what, you can't avoid finances. Like you've got to fund things. You got to have some backup cash. It gets you food, it gets you water, it gets you gas.
Yeah, because if you want to be a prepper, you have to have money.
Yeah.
Like you've got to have some extra money. There's no other way to do it.
No.
I mean mostly, right?
right.
Pretty
But
much.
yeah, a good prepper.
Yeah, a good prepper. That's right.
Saves money. So, but we talk a lot about this because of the United States' financial situation. Spoiler, it's not great.
It's not great. The numbers don't look good.
We're in trillions of debt to everybody, I think.
Yes.
But Americans themselves are not very good with money, which is weird. Very rich country, but we're
Yeah.
terrible with it.
Oh yeah, we're horrible.
We're horrible. So
Yeah.
here's just some statistics on the finances of Americans.
Okay.
Only 30% of Americans have a long-term financial plan that includes savings and investment goals. 30%. It's probably even lower than that.
Yeah, it probably is.
These percentages are give or take, but they're definitely low, all of them. 19% have $0 saved to cover an emergency expense.
That's scary.
20% almost of the Americans have zero.
Nothing.
Ready for an emergency. 31% have less than 500 in emergency savings. So crazy,
Jeez,
man. So yeah.
Look, and we're saying this, this is hard. Sometimes this is very difficult depending on your situation.
and even right now,
It's
where you
harder.
were unprepared,
Yeah.
you got blindsided.
Sure, yeah. We understand that, sometimes, economies aren't great, specific people
And
live in
circumstances and your costs
Yeah,
and-
there's a lot of things that,
Yeah. It's
that
not always your fault.
it's not always your fault, but you need to be thinking about
But
it.
it is your fault if you don't take advice
Yes.
from us that are
And it's-
experts in everything.
And it's hard. Maybe $500 is a great emergency fund for you.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
It
right.
just depends on where you're at financially.
Right. And we, rarely would I say this, but we're lucky, like the government. I think a lot of big businesses were actually very forgiving. Like right now, like I'm still paying my student loans, but they're
Yeah.
I don't have to. Like
You don't have to.
They're like,
Yeah.
forbearance right now, which is a lot of this has come because of this virus that they've kind of taken a step back and like, look, you don't need to pay this right now, or they've extended the period of
Yeah.
late payments and things like that, which
That's
is
lucky.
which is lucky.
It's very lucky.
So that doesn't always happen. And then not surprisingly, about 50% of Americans are concerned or anxious or fearful about their current financial well-being.
Yeah.
Half of Americans. And we're in a rich country, and it's just pretty sad that we don't prioritize being financially sound.
Yes.
We're greedy, and we like good things, and we don't use our brains.
Not very often,
spending.
anyways.
We like to just buy. Interestingly,
Yeah.
low income is not always to blame for financial hardship. Only 1 in 5 people, 20% facing financial hardship, fall below the poverty line. 1 in 5. That's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
And that it's making less than $40,000 a year.
So basically, that means people are living above their means a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Our
Like,
state's really bad.
I
with
wish
that.
I knew what the percentage was on
Me
that.
too.
That-
I really do, because
like
I
a
think it would
paycheck to
comfort
paycheck?
people. You're like, how do they afford that?
How the hell do they got
Just
a brand new
above their
boat?
house, it just tells you what their income is and their expenses. You're like, oh, that's
Wow.
why they're a
Yeah.
bunch of morons.
And their debt and their credit cards and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure everybody didn't really have the ability to use their stimulus on a side by side. They probably shouldn't have.
No.
So, but the
Eh.
trailer and the ATVs and all that,
Yep.
that business is booming right now.
It is. It is.
Americans hold over $1 trillion in credit card debt.
That's
It's a lot of money.
That's great.
Non-revolving debt loans total over $2.8 trillion. And then this one, to kick off 2018, the total outstanding auto loan debt totals $1.22 trillion.
It's a lot of money.
People are buying vehicles.
They are.
And the auto industry does not have any compassion upon the
They do
American.
not. They don't care.
40,000, 60,000, 70,000. I think Ford Focus is like 100,000 right now.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't even think it exists
Well, that's
anymore.
the base. You don't get AC with that. That's the base model.
That's why I was looking at those new Broncos. I'm like, they're so sweet, but like the ones that are all decked out and stuff, they're like 60 grand. A little tiny SUV.
Yeah.
Just like, anyway.
That's cheaper than a side by side.
But people, they know how
Yeah.
Americans are. They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah. So one big thing about looking at, financial preparedness is the debt. Like debt, it isn't always completely bad. There's times when debt is good. It just depends on your situation.
No one can just buy a house flat out.
Most people cannot. So you need a place to live, right?
Yeah.
So it isn't always bad, but it isn't usually the perfect situation financially, especially if you're a prepper. You want to avoid it as much as possible. And there's a few types that kind of are more sucky than other debt, right?
For sure.
Credit card debt. That's obviously we talked about what were the numbers. It was an insane amount of credit card debt for the United States, right?
Yeah. The credit card is like 1 trillion.
The bad thing about that is it's usually crazy high interest rates on that money. It's not like it's low and you're like, oh, it's not a huge
So
deal.
that 1 trillion in debt's probably like 19% APR.
Yeah, maybe.
Tons.
So, you want to think about that credit card debt. You probably want to avoid using them or pay them off monthly type thing, right?
Right.
I'm not saying because they're actually good to have a credit card.
No, they are. Yeah.
You
and there's
wanna
a lot
have
of
them.
benefits from them.
There are.
And you got to build credit.
But
so.
you just have to use them really wisely. They're great to have in a time of crisis. If all of a sudden something happens and you need something or there's an emergency, you've got it. You know what I mean? That's great. But just be careful about the way you use them and don't pay minimum payments. All those things, those are bad.
Right.
I'm not a financial expert, so just take this all with a grain of salt. But these are just some
I
things
agree.
as a prepper, right?
I think that's one thing, like, I don't know, maybe high schools teach it more, but the finances was not taught at all.
I think I had
it was my
one
parents
class.
that helped me learn.
Exactly.
This is a loan, and this.
Yeah.
It needs to be like we need to be more involved.
Absolutely. Another one that's really tough is student loans.
It is tough.
And the reason they're so tough is it takes so long to pay them off.
And it's like tuition goes up like
insane.
350% every year. It's outrageous.
And the reason the tuition is going up so much is because of these government-backed student loans. It's like this vicious cycle. They keep going up because how hard is it for an 18-year-old to go out and get a loan? It's not hard.
No.
For student loans, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And the hard part is sometimes if you're not smart with the degree you get and if you're not smart with your choices, you may not ever pay those things off.
Yeah, tons come out of school and they can't use their degree.
Exactly.
Tons, and they're like 50, 60,000 in debt.
Yeah, so be thinking about that. That will burden you for a really long time if you're not smart about it. Payday loans. If you're doing payday loans, rethink your life. Okay? Seriously. These are super high interest rate. They're stupid.
They may save you once, but don't
It's
rely on them
not
all the
worth
time.
it. Just stay out of it. So debt, it's tough, right? So you have interest on all this
Payday
money.
loans are like going to that scary, greasy guy in the basement's like smoking a cigar. He's like, what do you need?
I will pay you this money, but
Yeah.
you owe me for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
What is your sister's number?
Can we brand you?
Yeah, exactly. So just be careful. So this debt will put you at a big disadvantage if a big crisis hits. Like right now, we're lucky, like you said, some of the student loan stuff, they're not asking you to pay. But if you can't work and you still have all this debt and you have to pay it, oh crap, that's not good, right?
Yeah. And then when you don't pay it and default, like it sucks for everybody else.
Sucks for everybody else.
You screw us all over.
And so like instead of using this money on this interest that you're paying on the debt, you could be, getting preps for this bad situation. There's a lot of different things. It's just I don't know. And there's a few things you can do if you're going to
discipline.
It is really
and
discipline.
It's really hard.
So if you can pay down your highest interest rate ones first or your lowest amount, start getting rid of that debt as soon as you can. It's going to help you as a prepper for sure. And the one last thing I'll say about debt, freaking avoid adjustable rate loans like it's the damn coronavirus. Okay? Because right now I feel like interest rates are artificially low, and they've been doing that. The Fed is doing that to help prop up this economy. Eventually, those are going to skyrocket because we're going to get some hyperinflation at some point. At least inflation. The money's going to be inflated. So when those adjustable rate loans hit, you are effed. when they change, you know what I mean? You're effed. So be thinking about that. And there's going to be a lot of financial advisors like, this guy's an idiot. No idea what the hell he's talking about.
True.
But anyways, that's just basic advice, okay? Basic advice. That is bad most of the time.
I agree. So, one thing that you can start doing now, you're working on your debt or whatever.
Yeah.
But you need to be developing an emergency fund. The reason I say you need to be doing it now is because none of us really have. I mean, it's hard to get an emergency fund ready to go right now, especially after all this. Like I said, we got blindsided.
Yeah, just set aside a couple $1,000s or whatever. It's hard to do.
Yeah, it is. So some things to think about with that. An emergency fund is a separate account used to cover or offset expenses for unforeseen situations.
Yeah.
So some of these things can be, like unexpected health costs.
Yeah.
Those can be astronomically high. Your water heater usually quit working right in the middle of, when you're
taking a tub,
taking
a bath.
Yeah.
No more hot water.
And it's like these things come into a time where it's like, I can't wait. I need to have it done. And that costs more for emergency services and quicker.
Yeah. I think this comes back to what we talk about a lot is your personal apocalypse, because a lot of those things
personal apocalypse
hits those perfectly. Like your car breaks down, you lose a job, all those things. If you got an emergency fund, you're like, you're so much better. It's so much better off.
And it's such an anxiety relief to have this.
Mm-hmm.
So savings and emergency fund. Emergency fund is a type of savings, but it shouldn't be your savings. It shouldn't be your savings account. In a way it can be, but you should have those kind of separate out. This is for my emergency fund, and I'm not going to touch it only for emergencies. Savings account, some people dip into and whatever.
Sure.
So you want to try and separate those out. It's kind of recommended across most financial sites to get about $1,000. And you think a mortgage cost, car payment, that's gone fast. But
$1,000 ain't gonna cut it.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. But that's like the starting point is at least start with 500, work towards that.
Yeah.
Get to 1,000, and then the best ways to customize is to figure out for 3 months what are all of your costs and work towards that number.
Yeah.
On top of that, you got to add a little more for food and ongoing expenses.
Sure.
But that's why, and Kobe will talk a little more about budgeting, is to figure out where your expenses are and going and what you're going to be required to pay no matter the situation. Because we caught a break with this virus in terms of like companies working together to give you, some leeway and give you some time to pay. That's not always going to happen.
No.
And so you need to have the ability to pay for things if you lose your job and if you lose, because quite frankly, they don't care about you.
No, you signed on the dotted line.
Yeah.
And you owe them.
You told
Doesn't
them
matter.
you were going to do this. So.
Yeah.
But so ways to kind of get started with that, and when I say like the difference in savings, a lot of times you want your savings to be accumulating more money. You want to get an interest on it, but there's penalties if you pull it out sooner than it should. So like CDs and stuff like that gain interest faster. But in an emergency, you pull that out, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to do that. That's why you want to kind of have them in a separate thing.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets a little tricky is you've got this cash and everybody wants to have that cash be circulating or in use or given you. But there's some penalties to that. And typically it's safer to not have that money anywhere that you can access quickly.
It's such a catch-22, dude. It's so hard to know what to do.
So do you take that $1,000 to $3,000 to cover your 3 months expenses in cash and have it readily accessible? I think as a prepper, that's probably one of the best ideas.
Yeah.
But
and maybe you can split it too. Maybe you can have part of it in your bank account.
And that's one thing, you don't want it all in one place.
Yeah, it's super true.
So, but you want it to be available to you. And I'm always terrified big time about a bank having all of my money, like having all of my like that cushion. It's in the bank. That could be gone. It's a number. It's a digital number.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit too. Yeah, it's like you don't know.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's federally insured up to so much, but
what happens when the government's toast?
Yeah, how good is that? I even read something somewhere. People are saying with your emergency fund or a piece of your money, put it in a different bank.
Yeah.
So have like one bank
Yeah,
for
it did
this
say,
and another
separate.
bank for this, just in case one bank goes screwy.
And that's a good idea.
You've got something else somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
It's a good idea, but it's a pain in the butt.
It's a
but it's a
huge
really
pain in
good
the butt.
idea. Yeah.
And I think it is a good idea to, like, if you want to use it that way, because that's probably the safest place to put your money right now.
Yeah, sure.
But it's vulnerable, unfortunately, in our system. So spreading it out a little bit, sticking cash in your pillow, sticking cash.
Yeah.
No, but really, like, having cash available is a must. You got to have some cash that you can access, but don't put it all in one place. Like, I'm guilty of this. I had like $1,500 in an envelope on the top of my.
Where was it at?
Yeah. In my house.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to have it on one place. A fire, it's gone. $1,500 gone. Somebody breaks in and finds
scary.
that. That's kind of.
You're right, and I've done
sickening.
that. I've started to get some more cash, and I'm like doing it really slowly.
Yeah.
But I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah. Like I'll put $100 here, I'll put $100 there, and I'll put them in some different, and then start adding to it when I can, when I have some extra cash. You know.
And it's tough. You got to be really good at like protecting that, because we've had the envelope where it's like, we're selling cookies. Well, here I got cash,
here
or
we're
gonna go to the movies. They don't accept a credit card. We'll just use our cash, and then that envelope all of a sudden becomes empty. So it's hard, but I think doing it that way, the separate bank thing, I did see that it's best to have them disconnected, because one, if there's some bank issue, and then two, it kind of keeps you away from drawing from that, because it's so easy. You got your regular card.
Yeah.
But anyways, so long story short on that is you want to at least have $500.
Yeah.
Whether it be cash or in a different bank. Build to 1,000 as fast as you can, and then evaluate your 3-month expenses and get that amount in your emergency fund.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think diversifying is the best. Have some in the bank, have some in cash, have some in different places.
Yeah,
it's such a good idea.
It's a headache, and you need to be organized to keep it, but it's safer. You're gonna be ahead by being able to draw cash
it's hard.
from somewhere.
This financial preparedness is so important. The hard part is it's like not sexy at all.
It's not.
There's nothing about it that's like super fun, but you have to think about it as a prepper. Like you just
And when you
really
start thinking about money, you usually become depressed.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Or start fighting with your wife about
25 years behind in preparing for the future.
Exactly. It's hard to think about. Another piece of the financial puzzle is the records, like the financial records, the financial information. It's something that you need to look at. You got to keep that information safe and handy and available. And so here's just a few things to think about. Think about storing important financial documents, and think about storing them in different places. A safety deposit box, a safe at home that's a fire safe, a flood safe, on an external, hard drive or a flash drive or something in the cloud. You want to, again, diversify locations so that if something happens, that you're able to get that information when you need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I already talked about fireproof document bags, something like that, a safe, or you have it stored off site somewhere, at a different storage facility.
Gas station.
Or something. Keep it at the gas station.
Just you pull all the bags of chips back.
I like to put it behind the donuts, like the hostess on the hostess rack. Yeah.
Find something that doesn't sell very much.
Yeah.
Just pull it forward and put it back behind.
The bananas and the apples at the grocery store, or at the store, put it underneath that.
Are these plastic?
I don't even think those were real. I saw someone buying one of those the other day. I'm like, what the hell, is this an alien? What are you doing?
Seriously.
Buying a banana at the gas station?
He must be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know what he's got going on in his life.
Desperate.
But his friends need to call him. By buying a banana at the gas station. Anyways,
seriously.
It's also good to have hard copies of this information, like in a binder, like a small binder somewhere that you can just grab.
Trapper Keeper.
Yeah, Trapper Keeper's perfect. And then you can just grab that if you're bugging out or something's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's also a good thing. This is something that Cam has taught me that I still have yet to do, but I want to do it. Photos of the front and the back of your credit cards and your debit cards.
I've got to update that.
Stored somewhere safely, like that you can access really easy. So if they get stolen or whatever, or you lose them, you can call and get those canceled ASAP.
Yeah.
Right before somebody buys.
I need to
9,000 pieces.
Update that, because like my Hollywood Video and Circuit City cards are still on that printout.
Yeah, you want to definitely make those updated.
I haven't canceled them yet, just in case they come back.
You never know. They had good interest rates, you know. So this, this kind of stuff, you want to have forms of ID for your family. We've talked about this. Your house payment in financial records and obligations, insurance policies. Those are super important.
Huge, yeah.
Super important. Tax statements. You have to keep those for a few years. And then you will need those to apply for FEMA disaster assistance if something ever happens as well. So you want to make sure you have those. Deeds and property documents, obviously you want to keep those safe, right?
Yeah.
And then photo inventory for insurance purposes of whatever you have to take photos of. And then contact numbers and emails for your banks and insurance and credit cards and all those stuff. Have all this stuff available, backed up in a bunch of different places because it's going to be super important.
I think the multiple places because there's, don't go prehistoric. Like we have really good apps and technology. Like I have those apps have saved my butt 100 times where it's like I misplaced my card and I need to put it on hold. Mm-hmm. Either you have the bank app or you just hurry and call that number and there's a picture of it. So it's super nice. But yeah, diversify.
Do it.
So investing, this gets a little tricky because
it does.
One, you got to have money to invest.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be investing if you don't already have like your emergency fund. And, don't put that money out there to make money if you don't even have like a backup plan or a emergency fund.
Yeah. And for preppers, some preppers get a little squirrely about investing in the stock market and all those types of things. So maybe this isn't for you, but you may want to think about it because one day you'd like to retire. I would
exactly.
Hope, right.
If the world stays in one piece.
Yeah. And so you got to hedge your bets.
Right. Right.
You got to.
So, you want your money to make money for you. And so you want to put it in the best place that's going to do that. And this is where I'm no expert by any means. So it's just a real basic rundown of places you could put your money and things for, preppers to consider.
Yeah.
Because, these are susceptible, risky things to do, but risk with money equals more money too. So you gotta take the risk. So should you? Yes, if you can, but again, make good and sure the most important things are done first. You're not in a massive amount of debt. Like take care of that. Make sure you have an emergency fund.
Yep.
And then when you're set and organized,
I would say also make sure you have your basic preps.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
Before you start putting
and that's an investment
money.
There. So
it's a huge investment.
So evaluate your current situation and make sure those more important things are covered first. So what's some of the places you can put your money? Where your mouth is.
I heard that before.
Number one.
I heard that before.
But stocks. So stocks can be individually purchased. You can research which ones are you've got to pay a lot of attention to this whole thing if you're doing this individually and on your own.
Yeah.
Like I purchased some stocks back in the day and they've done well. And I wish I would have purchased more, but you really have to follow the market and everything like that. You've been using Stash, right? Because it's kind of a simple, easy way to.
Yeah, and it's more for me to kind of learn investing in stocks, and you can invest in really small amounts, like $5 at a time if you want.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And so it's just a good thing to kind of feel out the market.
I really think stuff like this. You can read and read and read, and until you start playing with it, like
that's
putting a little money. And that's why something that's not super expensive, you're not dumping $1,000 to $2,000 into something you don't understand. Like 5 and 10, that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, then you could do it over time too. You can have it like on an auto investing, $5 a paycheck.
Yeah,
boom,
that's
every
sweet.
time. And you start building it up, and over time, that's how you make some money finally. Yeah.
And I guess I going back to like the savings thing. There's like, do you remember the Wealthy Barber? Do you remember that book?
No,
it was one that they kind of push a lot in different, but it comes down to that basic idea of pay yourself first. So the 10% is huge. Like they say 10% of your paycheck or 10% of your total income, that's what needs to be saved. Because you're paying yourself. You're not paying, the car company for something that you want. You're not paying your house. You're not paying. That 10% is saved for you to do. So basically, you're paying yourself from your paycheck, which is kind of funny. But 10%'s kind of the goal there is what you want to work towards.
Yeah.
But and that money can be used to invest. So it's really, really important to work with like a financial advisor with this, because there's so many ins and outs and to help you understand. But there's those little things, like you said, like Stash, that you can start doing on your own.
And they'll actually teach you some of that stuff. So sometimes the financial advisor is great. Sometimes it's hard because they charge you.
They do.
So you have to look at what's best for you in your situation.
Exactly.
You know what I
And
mean?
some employers, you have
They'll
open
provide it.
access to
Yeah.
one that's not going to charge you.
Exactly.
So utilize that. So outside of stocks, there's mutual funds, bonds first. Bonds. So stocks are company ownership. Bonds are loans to companies that, you're basically paying on.
Or loans to the government too.
And
there's
the government too.
bonds, yep.
And so they're paying you in the interest to give your money to pay for these loans. They're a little more, I don't know.
They're safer.
They're safer. They're safer, but when it comes to safer and money, you don't get as much in return. You have to
Return's lower.
there's a lot to do with these. Mutual funds are probably the biggest, easiest thing to kind of invest into, I would say. I mean, if you're not willing to invest all the time to follow and watch individual stocks, this way it's all kind of lumped together into these mutual funds. And this is typically where 401ks are your money's distributed amongst these.
Yep.
So those are good to look into. And then there's the exchange traded funds. And those are cheaper. So because a lot of the times with the mutual funds, you're investing a large amount, either a portion of your paycheck or the minimum of some of them are like 1,000 plus. So if you want to go smaller, these cheaper mixed funds to invest in are the ETFs. So
there's a lot of ETFs on Stash that I've been looking at and playing with.
That's why I noticed that.
And there's actually one like there's one that's a precious metals ETF. So you're investing in gold and silver in precious metals. So it's,
but you're not like
you
only
don't actually,
gold.
Oh, not only gold. You're kind of spreading it out.
Yeah,
so it's an interesting.
It is, and it's kind of that mutual funds thing. So I think it's a little easier to manage that way. It's a better way of distributing your money. But and then the 401ks, things like that. Talk to your financial advisor about setting those up. But as a prepper, those things are out there and they're susceptible, and that money can be lost at any time.
So you have
to. And this year, people watched some massive fluctuations in their stocks. So, but anyway, they are things that can really gain money, and it helps the market and everything. So, another thing to invest into, and this is a pretty common one, is real estate. Either you invest in real estate to flip it and sell for a profit, or you're investing in real estate to rent, and you continuously own it, but you're getting money on a continual basis from it. But there's a lot that goes into that too. You got to plan for unexpected costs, even more so for breakdowns and flooding and people trashing the place.
Well, I even think with real estate or land, I think it's an investment for yourself too. If you're a prepper
and
you want to invest in some land, that's a great investment, because most likely, even if you hold on to that thing for 20 years or whatever it is,
land is land.
Land is land, man. It's not going to, it's most likely going to go up in value. Most likely. I mean, you don't know. But.
And there's some, like when we talked about the bug out locations.
Yeah.
Like investing in some land up on the mountain.
It's a great investment.
That's your
for a
land.
prepper.
And, the hard thing with land investment is if it just sits there.
Yeah, sure.
But it's gaining. It's never, I don't think I've ever really seen land depreciate much.
No, I mean, obviously there's fluctuations.
There's always
in real
a
estate
use
markets.
of it.
Yeah.
But it is a harder thing to invest in because you're not really getting any gain until you sell or build on. So,
or like you said, you're a prepper, you're getting a huge gain if you have 40 acres in the mountains.
That's exactly right.
So you just have to look at it whatever.
What way you want.
What way you want it.
Like, so, but anyway, and then another thing that's a little bit, this is hard stuff. Like the cryptocurrency is, I don't know. It's hard. I for a while was really into like looking into it. I never did invest into it, but because it's like I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
It's like investing into air. And
it's really hard to understand it. It's
it
not
is
like a
super
clear cut thing,
right?
And it's super volatile.
Very volatile.
Yeah, like Bitcoin has been like a roller coaster, right?
It has. But for example, May 2017 Bitcoin, you could buy a whole Bitcoin for $1,500. December of that same year, $19,000 for that same. So massive investment. But it like fluctuates a ton. Yeah. Like right now, it's like 6,000 to 10,000 for a full Bitcoin. You can buy portions of it, and there's apps that help you do that and things like that. But it's like this virtual currency. Yeah. The other thing that's kind of complicated with it is who uses it and who doesn't. Yeah. Like there's some companies that use it as a currency, and the funny thing is the IRS doesn't even consider it a currency.
That's so weird.
So it's like this trade of this virtual money back and forth that can be used there's certain things about it. One, the security varies. One, it's virtual, so Russia goes after everything.
But they say that it's more
secure.
I
know, that's what's so weird.
Than your money in the bank.
Because of like these security, you have these private keys that only you know, have basically that key unlocks your wallet to these Bitcoins. You can't even have your Bitcoin frozen. Like it's not an asset that can be taken from you, and you're the only one that has access to it. So it's more secure in some ways, but since it's out there floating around, it is susceptible. Like it can go to zero, and there's no way to
nothing to do.
Fight again. Like you can't. I don't know. It's just it's a really weird market. Like if you want something super interesting to invest your money in, if you're starting out, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. I've tried to kind of look at the like the technologies behind it, like blockchain and all that kind of stuff, and it is like
it's
I don't know
so
what
weird.
the hell I'm even reading or talking about. So I'm not even gonna mess.
And
with
it may just disappear.
Yeah,
like
who knows?
For good.
And there's a whole bunch of other types of cryptocurrency now, right? There's a bunch of different
there
ones.
are. There's Bitcoin. There's Litecoin or something like that, and then there's like all these weird like gamer names.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, it's a very strange thing to invest into. But I don't know.
Something to think about.
You could really gain a lot of money on it, but you may not. And then metals, that's another thing to invest in that Colby will talk more about because that is kind of a little bigger in the prepper community.
It absolutely is, yeah.
So it's a tangible thing, it's like cash. So.
Yep, for sure. Let's talk about budgeting because if you're going to get rid of debt and if you're going to be a prepper and invest, you got to have some sort of a budget most of the time, right? And it's so hard. Budgeting is not an easy thing to do. You have to be super disciplined and you have to be smart about the way you budget, right? And as a prepper, it's probably even more crucial to have a budget. And it's more crucial if money is tight. Like a budget is less of an issue if you're doing well financially.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're not being an idiot, right? Like but when money's tight, it's hard, and it's really important to do this. But
I think the hardest thing with budgets is that it has to be customized to everybody.
It does,
because we've done a tight budget, and it's frustrating.
Oh,
and it like pisses me off because you're going home and it's like I want to grab a burger from Burger. I'm like, but we have this budget of like fast food, and I'm like, just get pissed and just like speed home.
Why am I working if I can't do it?
Yeah,
so it's really hard.
You have to customize it to be comfortable and stick to it, but not like be a freaking tightwad.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to live your life, right?
You do.
So you have to.
That's where I've had a hard time making a budget. It's like, where am I comfortable?
Yep.
But where do I restrain myself with the budget?
So there's really easy ways to start this. There's a million simple templates and spreadsheets online that you can find to go start this.
Sounds sexy.
It does, man.
Spreadsheets.
Yeah. There's a lot of apps you could even use. Like Mint is a free one that's like you can hook to your account, and actually it's
I used that one
automated.
for a long time, and then I went to personal. What is it? Personal. Anyway. But
I don't use one right now.
I like how organized they are because they break all of your costs down. I use Personal Capital because it takes all of your investments, your banks, and everything, and kind of shows you that money where it's being distributed.
Oh, it's a good.
But it's a helpful way. Use technology for this.
Yeah,
it's
for
like
sure.
The easiest way.
So the number one thing you have to do is figure out what are your fixed monthly expenses, those things that like you can't go a month without paying, right? And most of the time that's your home, so it's your rent or your mortgage or whatever that might be, your car or transportation costs, depending on where you live. Food, you have to have food. Medical, do you have medical costs? Do you have health insurance, whatever that might be? Utilities. And then you got to look at what your debt is because you have to pay that every month. You can't stop paying it. Phone, makeup, hair serum. I mean, there's all those things that you kind of look at. That's your fixed monthly expense.
Cameron Colby's hair serum.
Yeah, I just think about with the wives. It's like there's this. Never mind. There's just always that monthly thing that's going towards
that. If I could turn that into fuel,
oh gosh,
I'd have enough energy production for an eternity.
We should come up with some like biogas generator that works off of hair serum or whatever.
Dry hair don't matter. Dry hair, oily hair.
So figure out what that is and what those fixed monthly expenses are, and hopefully that is lower than what you bring in as income, right? If you're there, you're doing well so far, right?
Yeah.
But then you need to look at those things that aren't crucial: cable, subscriptions.
That freaking crap sneaks up all the time. I'm like, why did I get charged for Hulu? I didn't think I was still subscribed.
I know.
Like,
it's hard.
If you're not paying attention,
they'll get you.
I'm like, man, I just paid 6 months and I didn't even realize
and then they make it a pain in the ass to go to get rid of it sometimes.
Yeah, Sirius Radio
You
is
gotta
like
call,
one of the worst.
You got to call between 1 and 1:03 a.m. on Friday nights. It's like, what?
Yeah. Oh, you want to cancel? We'll make it $1 for 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, like you never cancel.
And then at 6 months, they charge you $150. You're like,
Yeah.
dang it.
So then you got to look at those things and you got to say, okay, what do I have to have? What do I need to feel comfortable? And then determine where you go there, right? And then you got to pay yourself. Like Cam says, you need a savings, you need retirement, you need emergency emergency fund as well. But the fund, you got to make sure that you're paying yourself for that stuff. And
I always thought it was so weird, like you get your paycheck, but you're not paying yourself.
Yeah,
like
you're
that
not.
paycheck is paying everything that you use.
else.
And
And you're not keeping any of it. You got to, dude. And then now you see what's left over, and whatever is left over, that's where you as a prepper can start filling in the gaps with your prepping and your items, right? Whatever you have that is available for that, and then make that monthly piece always available for you. If you're super committed to being a prepper, is it $50 a month? Is it $25 a month? Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
But then just make a plan. So now I'm going to start buying my water, my food, and this is what I'm going to do every month. And then sometimes you can splurge, but
that's it. I'm buying my water.
That's right. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So just think about that. And then when money is tight, a really good thing to do is actually start using coupons and sales to start filling the gaps in your prepping. There's like all these sites where there's these extreme couponers. Have you ever seen them? Like where they have like an entire basement full of stuff that they've got free, like an entire basement.
I know there's like deals that you can get.
Yeah,
like these really
free
good
stuff.
payback.
Yeah, basically, go look on Instagram and YouTube. There's a ton.
That's crazy.
If you look up extreme couponers, but that's a really good way to get prepping
ECs.
started, huh?
The ECs.
EC, yeah, exactly.
Extreme couponer.
She's an EC.
I'm gonna put that title at the end of her name.
Yeah. And hit up yard sales, free stuff online, all those things. Just I just say stick to a budget. Don't get overexcited, because with prepping, especially when you're first starting out, it's overwhelming and it's really easy to just go, I got to spend $1,500 this week because I don't have my water and my food. Like, that's probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
Go slow.
That was the thing that was so frustrating to see, like all these people just buying all this stuff.
Yeah.
I guarantee you half of it's in the garbage now.
Yeah, I know. So you just
bought all this frozen stuff, couldn't put it anywhere.
Yep.
Virus is cured now.
Yeah, everything's cured. Yeah, so just go slow, stick to your budget, don't get overexcited, and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Hey, guess what?
What?
Do you know that this COVID thing, there's been a 5-fold increase in cyber attacks?
Ridiculous.
Money stolen,
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin distributed amongst Russians all over the place.
Zelda coins.
I mean, even look at recently with China,
Yeah.
stealing stuff, cyber attacks. It's a big problem.
It is.
It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what?
What?
We can individually protect ourselves.
How?
Surfshark,
Oh.
VPN. Go
Great.
private. Go virtually private on a virtual private network.
Whoa.
Surfshark.
Yeah.
They can protect you and all your devices from online threats. So basically, you just go gray man online when you're searching for stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's easy as that. You won't get any annoying ads. They're not going to pop up and say, hey, you looked at Fruit Loops last week. What do you think about Sugar Smacks?
Well, yeah, we got a deal on Sugar Smacks.
Yeah. So, no, get all that crap out of there. Just go online and get stuff done with Surfshark. They also have a really cool feature called HackLock ID protection.
Yeah.
They'll tell you when your email has been leaked and it's being used to send dirty emails to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you. Also, the thing I like the most about Surfshark is one subscription. It's not limited to 5 or 4 or 3. It's unlimited. So you subscribe, you can use it on anything that basically has a screen and connects to the internet.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's super freaking cheap compared to all the other ones. It is for 27 months, $47.76. That's $1.77 a month
That's cheap.
to basically cloak yourself online.
Yeah.
You can't find better. You can't. There's no way. So that's 85% off, and you also get 3 extra free months. So
Good gracious, man.
I bought it. That's how valuable it was. Like,
Yeah.
we get stuff to test, and I'm like, this is the best deal in the world. It really is. Like, go and get it because you're going to keep yourself safe.
So where do you go?
You go to surfshark.deals/casual preppers.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
go to Surfshark, and it even like on the very front page, it just has like you can type the coupon in.
Oh, perfect. Right on the front
It's
page.
super easy.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Buy now, boom, psh,
Do it.
casual preppers. Use
Surfshark.
it.
Surfshark. All right. So, Cam, I would love it if you would talk a little bit about keeping your money safe
Oh, that
online
is me.
and at home.
Well, number one,
Yes.
get Surfshark.
That's a perfect little segue. Isn't
It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even when you're going online to do all your banking and stuff like that, your connection's not safe. Like it sucks. And it's easy to just go and get it done. But you need to use something like a virtual private network, like Surfshark being the best one, to go on there safely. We do a lot of banking online. It's super convenient, auto payment, all that. It's
I do
great.
all my banking online.
Like,
I can't
why
remember
would
the
you
last time
not?
I went to the bank.
Right.
I can't remember.
You don't need to.
No.
But all that stuff's out there, susceptible, and cyber attacks, boom, boom, happen all the time. So some things to do, you can, set up some really complex passwords, ones that you'll forget and have to change every other day.
Yeah, that's hard.
That's the hard thing.
Yeah.
But using a VPN like Surfshark, again, it helps keep your IP safe. They're not going to see that you're
A
online.
password keeper is a nice thing to have.
Yeah, I have, and I wouldn't say it's the safest, but I do like, Google's, but I probably wouldn't go with one of those big companies.
Yeah.
Because once they,
I use LastPass.
because where are they going to get attacked? Like
Yeah.
they're going to go after these big companies, and then all your stuff's vulnerable. But it does make life a lot easier.
It does, man.
But encrypting your passwords, making them long, you can even, if you really want to be safe about it, do the suggestions for the password. They're ridiculous.
Yeah,
They're
they're crazy.
they're like a key code to Microsoft,
Yeah.
just to play Xbox online.
Sometimes
for
though, I
5
wonder
minutes.
about those. Are they suggesting that so they know?
That's true.
But you're typing it in anyways. It's just funny.
And then if you're downloading like LimeWire stuff, do you remember LimeWire?
Oh, I do. I used it
I
all the
did
time,
too.
dude.
You probably don't want to be doing your banking and your budgeting and all that on that same PC.
Yeah.
Like if you're a hacker and you're using torrents, you shouldn't use that
No.
to go on and
LimeWire. Many a night downloading albums on LimeWire.
I
man.
know. That's why I mentioned. I'm like, if anybody doesn't know what that is, then you're probably a monk or a saint.
Or you're young.
Yeah, or you're young. That's probably.
Yeah.
And the other things to keep yourself protected, like I just wanted to pull up like my personal bank. I won't tell you what it is.
What's the number?
But I like some of the things that it said on here of keeping your stuff safe. Register. Most bank accounts don't come automatically with like a fraud alert service. Like you have
really?
to check that box.
Uh-huh.
Or you consent to them, being able to watch that. So then you get texts if there's an overdraw or anything like that. And that's been helpful. Like I have it set at on my Lowe's card. It's just like anytime I spend over $50, I get alerted, and I like that.
And then you can call your wife and say, "Hey, take that back."
Yeah, exactly. I should put an Ulta one on for like
oh gosh,
$15.
Yeah.
Guess what? You overspent in lip balm.
You're on alert, Tony.
Yeah.
You're on alert.
When you check out online, Visa checkout is safer than typing in your debit card,
Oh.
Like the bank card gives you that option of doing debit, or you do Visa. Visa checkout safer. E-documents, like having stuff sent digitally instead of through the mail is safer.
Oh.
Doesn't seem that way, but it is.
It is. Huh.
Because it's encrypted and nobody's going to go
Are you
through
telling
your
me envelopes aren't encrypted?
mail. No.
Okay.
Mail, not all mailman men or women are
People.
honest.
Male people.
And then obviously keep your PC up to date or your Apple computer protection software. And then ensure that sites are authentic. There's a lot of fake sites out there.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember getting emails of I remember specifically eBay selling stuff on there, and people will send you a PayPal receipt and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't.
PayPal spelled with 2 L's.
Yeah.
PayPal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Wait.
I'm moving. Could you please send it to South Africa address?
Yeah.
But anyways, watch out for that stuff. But just some basic things like look into your bank. They have like these additional features. A lot of them are automatic, but make sure you're setting up and checking the box to like keep all those security features enabled. That's for online. For cash at home, we talked about it, just distributing it into different areas. You don't want it all in one place. If a fire or a thief comes in, jackpot.
Or what if it's a fire thief? You never know about that, too.
It's like one of the Fantastic Four.
Like his hands are on
He
fire.
just flew in here, burned everything, and took all my stuff.
Punk.
So don't put it all in one place.
Yeah.
Lock boxes, especially those little Century locks or whatever that you can get. I mean, Harbor Freight even has them that are flood and fireproof.
Yeah.
And they're cheap.
They're pretty inexpensive.
So it's like put some documents in there. Like I have all of our Social Security stuff, like our Social Security cards and our
Did you get one from
green
Harbor Freight?
cards and our
Green cards.
I did get one from Harbor
I'm gonna have to
Freight.
go check it out. I've been
But
looking for one.
like I like all those documents, and then I have like some different loan information, so I have it all in one place.
That's a good idea.
And then it's protected from the elements.
Mm-hmm.
Other things to the extreme is you could bury some money. You know, the cash boxes or
Yeah,
the
for
cash boxes. The
It's a cash,
literally
It's a cash box with
I
cash in
can't
it.
put cash CASH into an ACHE.
Yeah.
But
ACHE?
catchy.
Catchy.
So one thing too is like when you carry money on you, I like to have some bills on me.
Mm-hmm.
There's some ways you can kind of different EDC gear that helps kind of stealthily carry that around. I actually use that cash belt, CACH, and put cash in it. Just fold it in there. So it's kind of
Good
good.
idea.
I like when I go to the theme park, which they don't exist anymore.
No. Yeah.
They're just coronavirus ridden.
Yeah.
But that's a good way to not lose it because your wallet, I've had that sucker flip out or get soaking wet
had
or
it.
leave it somewhere.
Mine fell off on the roller coaster at Lagoon.
Yeah. They've made so much money off from that kind of
I had to
crap.
go back the next day and get it. Gosh dang it. They stole my $5 out of there.
Of course they did. Yep. Of course. So use something like a cash belt.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And then so we talk a lot about Silent Pocket. The RFID scanners, so people can still our technology now, you can hold your phone up to the cash register and transfer money just like that. And cards do that too. You don't want to touch anything, just get close. But that can also be a vulnerable way of for your money. You can get it stolen. So what ways can you protect yourself that way? Silent Pocket's like one of the best
It's perfect.
because it just blocks that scanner. And it also blocks it from EMP and corona.
I'll tell you,
coronavirus ejections.
Since I've had it, the Silent Pocket wallet, I've felt safer. I'm like, hey, man.
It's kind of a freaky deal, especially if you're in a public place.
Yeah.
Because it's
sure.
like not only pickpockets, they don't even have to do that. They can just go scan your butthole.
Exactly.
You got all your
Hey,
information.
get that away. Radiation.
But yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can protect like your money, your accounts, your information with some of this tech, Silent Pocket, Surfshark, things like that. So just be safe
important
out there.
Super important, especially with your money these days.
For sure.
Another thing to think about as a prepper on the financial side is maybe precious metals. And it is a huge deal in the prepper community, investing in gold and silver and whatever it might be. And there's a few reasons that preppers like it. And one of those, the one thing I like is the hedge against inflation. So basically, inflation is on its way. I just don't see that there's any way around it. We're printing money like we're psychotic. We just keep printing money, and when that happens, the value of your money goes down. But if you have precious metals, that value usually goes up against inflation. So that's why it's a great hedge against this stuff. Usually in a financial crisis, precious metals they go up. So they're a good investment when you think that hard times are coming, or it's just great to diversify your portfolio, or just to have something hard, physical in your hand that's worth something.
It's comforting.
Look, it's
to
worth
like
something, sir. You know what I mean? If you have like these ones and
coin
zeros,
purse.
yeah, I know.
It's weird. Like that's the thing is like having that stuff in hand. You're like, I've got value. I can use this to purchase.
I could
something.
make a pretty ring if I needed to and sell it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You could become a jeweler.
It's something. It's and pretty much it's always worth something.
Yeah.
It's never gonna go to like zero.
No.
It's always gonna be worth something. But the dollar could get so inflated that it isn't worth anything. And here's an example of that. Let me tell you. During the period following World War I, if you guys remember that, Germany suffered severe economic and political shocks resulting in a large part from the terms of the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah, we talked about that. They rocked them.
Oh, boy.
They demanded everything
Not
from
good.
them.
The treaty required payment of reparations by the Germans through the Bank for International Settlements for the damage caused by the war to the victorious countries, right? The terms of these reparation payments made it practically impossible for Germany to meet the obligations. And
keep their country afloat.
Yeah.
They were.
They were prohibited from making payments in their own currency, and this is what screwed them over. The Germans had no choice but to trade their currency for an acceptable hard currency at unfavorable rates, right? So to make this happen, to make their payments, they just had to keep printing more of their money, right? This is what I'm talking about. When you print it, the value goes down the more you print, right? Just like if you keep making more gold somehow, gold isn't going to be worth as much. It's the same principle, right?
We need to capture that asteroid out there.
Exactly.
Pull it in, gold go down.
Exactly. So hyperinflation started like immediately. At its height, hyperinflation in Weimar Germany reached rates of more than 30,000% per month. 30,000% per month, causing prices to double every few days. So some historic photos depict Germans burning cash to keep warm because it was less expensive than using that cash to buy wood.
Unbelievable.
So that's one of the reasons why people are like gold and silver they're solid, they're constant, and if these crazy things happen, which very likely in the crazy state of our world right now, they're a really good investment. Also,
screw it. Let's just build 1 billion tanks.
I know, dude.
Try and take over the world.
Gold and silver, they're great for bartering. I mean, there's several ways to look at this, but in an SHTF long-term situation, they're great as a form of currency, right? The thing about it is they're not super useful in a short-term like power outage or something like that. So
how about you turn my power back on and flip a gold?
I got a gold bar here.
Here's a bullion.
Here's a bullion. So you have to look at it. Is it worth it for you? You know, do you want to make that investment? Just be super careful, right? In my opinion, I would not focus on this if you're a new prepper or if you're on a tight budget.
No.
You know, I got $25 a month to prep
between
with.
this and cryptocurrency, I'd go with this.
Yeah,
but
for
still,
sure.
both of them are like,
you got to be careful.
It's funny because somebody in Tawny's family, my wife, had talked about like trade. They traded like a gun for a silver coin. He's like, I still have that silver coin. I don't think it was worth it.
Yeah, you probably not. But I mean, obviously, it's great to have. But you just have to look at it situation to situation. First, get your prepping basics: your food, your water, your meds, your security. Those are all more important than getting gold bars and silver coins, in my opinion. Right. If you have extra cash and you've already got your emergency fund, you already got all these things, then go ahead, start investing in it. That's great.
It's such it's a tough thing because you're like, gold's super valuable.
Yes.
Platinum and silver, they're eternal. They're not going to go away. But it's like, they're really hard to use in a scenario.
Yeah.
You know? We just take a gold bullion and shave a little sliver off.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do with that.
There are some things you can do with that. They do make these little gold or silver bars that go in your wallet, and they have little pieces that break off. So they have pieces that break off, so you could just have little pieces and say, okay, here, this is so.
I've got a golden ticket.
Exactly,
It's just like a ticket, and you just
So
how much for this ride?
How many tickets is this? How much gold?
Just get me into Six Flags?
I just want to ride to ride. I got some gold.
That probably looks so fake. You know, it's like,
it does. It's
this
weird
is a
looking.
gold card. And yeah, it is.
And it just has these little pieces you break off. They're actually really cool. I've been wanting to get one to see what
I didn't even know they had those.
Yeah.
Because I remember at one point I did get kind of into this and I bought some silver coins, you know. And
I've got some silver coins too.
But I was like the gold is like this teeny tiny thing for way too much money.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. That's kind of cool. Little credit card that breaks pieces off from.
Yeah, so gold, there's gold and there's silver. Those are the two big ones that preppers look at.
Silver and gold.
Yeah. The thing about gold is it will probably gain more value over time. Usually goes up, but it's way more expensive.
Unless there's a werewolf attack.
Yeah, then silver is going to be
like crazy.
Super awesome. Yeah. But it's super expensive to get into gold. It is not easy. Silver is cheaper. It's easier to handle. The coins are worth less, so it makes it easier to, if you want to, if you're going to like the farmer's market, you got a gold bar. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, how much broccoli can I buy with this? Like, well, the next year you can have all my broccoli.
You can have my booth.
Yeah. You want my daughter? Because here's
the wagon, the booth. Here's all the flour I have. Take it.
So
it's true.
You just got to think about that, right? So silver's a little bit easier for that kind. And then there's what I like actually is junk silver. Have you looked into this much, Cam?
No.
Basically, pre-1965, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollars, they're 90% silver. And a lot of that's still in circulation. So you can watch your coins as they're coming through if there's not a coin shortage like there is right now.
Huh?
Yes, if you get something 1965 or before, they're worth a lot more than they're actually, than the quarter or the dime is worth. So you can keep those, and I actually have a little Ziploc baggie full of those that I've found. So I can, and you don't have to go buy those. You just kind of look at your change every day and filter those out. So those are good things to look at.
Use them when you're playing jacks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Here's 2 nickels.
Another thing we talked about is you can invest in paper precious metals, basically buying stock in this stuff.
Yeah.
It's less effective in an SHTF scenario because you could go someone like, look at my stash app. I've got this stock. You want to trade it? It's hard to do, but it is a great hedge for your portfolio against a financial crisis. So
because those numbers have been climbing with gold, right?
Very
the
much
precious
so.
metals go up and up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mine's up like 40% or something.
Is it really?
Yeah. So it's great.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So you have to look at that. That's precious metals. It's a very basic overview, but as a financial preparedness thing, I think it's good to look at.
Yeah, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And on to the next thing, bartering.
Yep.
Those precious metals are definitely valuable in that case.
Yes.
Like trade your coin for a box of bullets or whatever.
But I don't know, in my mind, if I'm bartering something, I don't want gold. I don't care what
either.
anyone says.
But I'm saying, like, if you have it,
Yes.
some people will
wanting it. Yes.
I'm the same way. I wouldn't
Yep.
do it the other way around. But so what are good things? So why would you barter? Obviously, unless you're super organized and the best prepper and have the best inventory, then you have everything you want at in any scenario, and that's not going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when this happened, I was like, I don't have as much as this that I wanted. Toilet paper, for example, it was a perfect thing that that kind of caught people off guard big time.
Yeah.
And they were like willing to barter certain things to get toilet paper, which is pretty crazy. Who would have known? But bartering is something that we actually did a full episode on it because like in a really bad SHTF and in cash and stuff like that kind of goes out the door, you're going to have to learn how to barter.
Yeah.
And there's different things you can barter and things that are more valuable. Obviously, cash is going to have value for a long time, probably. Coins and $5, $10. So you want to, that was one thing with the savings and the emergency fund. It's good to probably have some small bills, a good amount of them.
Yeah.
Because you can't be like, will you break this $1,000 bill?
I got a $1,000 bill in my wallet.
I just need
in case.
a bucket of oats.
Yeah. Funny enough, I just bought a bucket of oats. It's weird.
For $1,000.
Not $1,000. It was like $20.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, they're a hot commodity right now.
They are.
So food is a big thing, one to barter with, but also to barter for. So having a variety of different foods, like the sweets, the things that was the one thing when like coronavirus and the grocery stores got wiped out. I'm like, man, I'm craving me some Lay's. And that was the only risk I took to go to the grocery stores to get foods.
Snacks, yeah.
But snack foods can be valuable in an SHTF.
People are addicted to sugar, man.
Well, they are. I'm addicted to salt. So
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, health and hygiene supplies, like alcohol still is very hard to get. Like rubbing alcohol, like you can't get it anywhere.
Yeah.
And tampons, cleaning supplies, antibiotics, like those things, if the healthcare system falls apart, which it should.
Speaking of tampons, I was pretty proud of my wife.
Did you go buy those too? A bucket of them?
I was down in my prepper room and I looked up and there was some tampons. I'm like, oh, she actually did it.
Good job.
Good job, Ash. Well done.
Not embarrassing at all.
No, it's not.
We've talked about it a million times.
Yeah.
But but those supplies are going to be hard to get and they're going to be very valuable because they make life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Weapons, bullets, things like that. Bullets, boxes of bullets and things like that are great bartering items.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd
for
trade
sure.
my bullets for a bucket of weed if my family was starving.
100%.
Some people, and even during this, like bullets were hard to find.
They were.
Like
really
9mm bullets and stuff. I had to buy like little cheapo Target ones, and they were limited.
I bought the last box at Sports.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that obviously would become, in a longer scenario, a very valuable item.
For sure.
We talked about like the coffee, tobacco, booze, things like that. People are addicted to them, and they will do anything for them. And even though you may not use them, it's not bad to have some.
Yep.
Like I went to the liquor store and bought a whole bunch. Just told my wife,
Yeah.
this is for no. I haven't bought booze, but I have some bags of coffee and
I
things
do
like
too.
that. So
I have some cigars and stuff.
I
sitting
need
there.
to, Tobacco really has its, If you ever see every like survival movie, everybody's like dying for cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, you got cigarettes.
Smell
Even
'em.
during war, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
Like World War II, that was like a huge thing to trade.
If you have a baby, you got to have a cigarette or a cigar.
Right.
You got to. That's how it's done.
Yeah. It's just
Even in the apocalypse.
yeah, because everything's going to turn into Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then like I said, sweets. But one other thing that can be bartered are skills. That's one thing, you know, like for example, I can tell you if this pill goes in your butt or if it goes in your mouth. That's
a good
skill.
thing to know. Yeah.
It's a really good skill.
I wonder sometimes.
But even like you
I ask
asked,
my wife, I'm like, how do I take this ibuprofen? Is it a suppository or what do I do?
which is faster?
Yeah. Which one? Let's just try.
Yeah. Let me push it in your butt.
Yeah.
But no, those skills like the contractor skills, like knowing how to frame and things like that. Like you can trade things based on the things that you're able to do. Like I'll build you a house if you can tell me what these medicines do.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Which one of these is my blood pressure medicine?
Yeah.
Can't believe how many people come in not knowing what they're taking. Like I talked about that before. But
Yeah, it's insane.
But yeah, your skills can be used, you know,
Absolutely.
for bartering.
For sure.
So anyway.
Love it.
There you
Bartering's
go.
great. That's financial preparedness right there, boys and girls.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it, and I know it's a little bit boring, but I still think
And
it's
some of you are probably like financial advisors and you're like,
Yeah.
these guys are morons. And I'm sorry about that, but hey, it's the basics.
that's what we're always morons, okay? Doesn't matter what it is.
Basically, just saying financial preparedness makes you think. That's
Yeah.
all we want.
We want you to think about
You didn't
it.
have to listen to any of this.
Yeah, just
it
start. We
it
could have
was in
just
the
went
title.
financial preparedness. See you next week.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by TacPack, the only monthly tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside. Use code Casual Preppers and get a free separate bag set of EDC gear along with your first month's TacPack. Head to TacPack.com, use our code Casual Preppers. You won't be disappointed. Cam got a SOG Tomahawk in the
did.
last one. That little prick. It was
did.
nice looking too.
It is really nice.
I think it's just like mine, but just a cooler color.
Yeah, it is a cooler color.
It is a cooler
Sure
color.
is.
No doubt, no doubt. So
They
make sure you
those
check it out.
guys, I'm pretty sure, are thieves. They just steal from people and put them in boxes because there's no way.
There's no way they're
There's
doing it
no
for
way
that
they're
price.
making any money.
No.
At all.
No. So take advantage of it, boys and girls. This is called financial preparedness.
Yeah.
Take advantage
This
of
is
people's
this
stupidity.
is putting your money
Yeah.
in a very good pot spot.
Pot spot. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you who have subscribed. Please tell your friends, family about what we got going on. Please go check out our sponsors, you know, Surfshark, BattleBox, TacPack. Use our code Casual Preppers and stay survived.
Mm-hmm.